Hello and welcome back to the channel. Okay, today's analysis is bishop versus knight. And let's see how white takes advantage of the bishop. Okay, so first of all, black looks a little bit cramped, so white's utilizing he's going to utilize his space advantage, possibly by marching his king nearer the center of the board, maybe to the queen's side, even the king's side, just to and then support the pawns afterwards. Okay. Black doesn't have much scope because the pawn on f4 is kind of preventing black from venturing to e5 and g5. So let's see how he takes advantage. Okay, so first of all, he marches the king up the board. Okay, b6. Okay, a little bit weakening, but it probably makes no difference because after c6, white he probably doesn't need to take that pawn because let's say after this move takes this pawn on d5 is very strong anyway. Okay, but it's quite possible to look into taking, but you have to be wary because after pawn takes, it looks very good, and possibly the white bishop could prevent the pawns from marching forwards and really increasing the scope of the bishop. But he has to contend with possibly this idea of pawn takes and then knight takes, freeing up the knight. Okay, so that's something to be wary of. It looks very good because there's an isolated pawn on d6. There's a fork on b4, so maybe a3 has to be played. Then march the king forwards, and it's quite difficult to get into the position. Maybe it's holdable for black because all the entry points have been restricted. Okay, possibly. Okay, but white decided to go down a different route after b6, bishop f5, increasing the scope of the bishop. Black played c5. Okay, now here is a critical point. I would like, in this position, I would likely play en passant. Okay, en passant. The reason being because there's not many entry points into the black position. Okay, so that's why after playing this, it just looks quite logical. At least I can go to e4, maybe to d5, and who knows, at least I've got a pathway into black's position. But white saw even deeper than that. Bishop c8, provoking a weakness. And now there's a slight opening here. Okay, the king can sort of journey its way into the black position. Okay, but first of all, he wanted to restrict black on the king side with g4, not allowing f5. Okay, king f7, maybe with the idea of g6, and then trying to take some pieces and then freeing up the king side for the king to march through. Okay, so what would white do here? Is to restrict black. Good technique. Okay, king tries to come over, at least jockeying somehow. Now the king tries to get into black's position. Okay, attacking the knight. So it's kind of lost the tempo, it's gone back. Now the king is free to march into black's territory. Okay, once again, that pawn on f4 doing a great job restricting the knight. Bishop goes back. Knight in the corner. Now it doesn't look very good. Maybe black could have tried this idea. Okay, quite possibly bishop f5, knight b7, king here, and then he's going to just march into the position and possibly gobble everything up. He might be in zugzwang here. Here, here, okay. So it's kind of like, it's kind of white for choice. He's got the idea of a3, b4, maybe breaking up the queen side, creating more openings. Okay, but it looks like it's more of a stubborn defense anyway. Okay. So let's go back. Okay, so he decides to go for knight h8. Now the okay, so the king didn't go to a4. It could have done, but maybe white was fearing g6. I don't think it's that important, but f5, it just kind of says, oh, what you got, black. Okay, so king d8, king d8, trying to defend the pawn on b6. There we go. And here, zugzwang, a4. The knight can't move. If the king goes to a7, the king goes this way. If the king goes to c7, white goes this way. And somehow wins that pawn on b6. And the rest of the game. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed that little video. Okay, showing the power of the bishop over the knight. In these sorts of situations, it's good to find a plan for both sides, try to refute one of them whilst implementing your own. Okay, right, see you in the next video.